Welcome back to Movie Fridays, and hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, but of course around this time, the day after Thanksgiving, people have already flipped over from Thanksgiving to Christmas already, because there's not much to do around Thanksgiving, is it? It's all about Halloween and Christmas, is it? And I could instantly tell because this week is, of course, Black Friday. And when Black Friday happens, you know what happens. Shoppers staying up until the middle of the night just to grab whatever it is they're going to wrap for their Christmas presents to anyone. Plus, riots ensue on Black Friday. But to get the mind off of Black Friday riots, let's talk about one of my favorite classics, The Day the Earth Stood Still from 1951. Now, as a kid, I grew up with this movie. I think it was like 5th grade when I first saw it, and it's honestly one of my favorite sci-fi films of all time, directed by the world-renowned Robert Wise, based on the book Farewell to the Master by Harry Bates. And just the scope and the effects that were done for the time, and even one of the most infamous lines that's become a part of culture, is pretty much from this movie. It is memorable, it's classic, it is one sci-fi film that got me interested in classic movies. The other one being It Came from Outer Space. But we're not here to talk about the 1951 version of The Day the Earth Stood Still. Though I would love to, because I haven't seen that film in years. Now, today we're here to talk about its remake that came out in 2008. And its title is the exact same title as the original film. In this film, it kinda sorta plays off what the original was doing, but it goes in a different route. What winds up happening is that a moving object is detected and lands right on Manhattan, particularly Central Park. And from there, the US government is afraid of what this thing might do. It's a big glowy ball from outer space. And whatever comes from outer space, we must kill it! That's how they act in this film. So as it lands in Central Park, we wind up seeing our main character, who's the alien, Keanu Reeves, who plays Klaatu. Pre-John Wick era. Clearly this is after the Matrix movies, and yeah, it shows. I mean, as much as I like Reeves in some of the movies he's in, I mean, he had a rough start, but essentially Matrix and John Wick just boosted his career up. There wasn't really much of him in movies, at least to my acknowledgement. Essentially, Reeves winds up being held in captivity, asking why he landed on Earth, as he's basically telling society that there is no hope for them. A mother who is a professor and her younger son, whom I think is adopted, played by the young Jaden Smith, winds up going along with Klaatu on a mission to try and persuade him to not blow up the Earth and all that lives there in humanity. The journey itself, I don't really see much going on with it. The 51 film definitely has a strong message for it. It's strong and it has it going for it. And that, in a line that is said in the final version, and spoilers on it, in matters of aggression, we have given them absolute power over us. Your choice is simple. Join us and live in peace, or pursue your own present course and face obliteration. It's a deep message because pretty much if you look at the news and see what happens in the rest of the world, we live in that struggling issue of how are we going to survive even after we blow everybody up on the planet. I mean, if anything, I would be with them in peace, and the message is just deep in this film that I'd have to be with them. Remake, on the other hand, they don't say anything like that. It's not a message of peace or anything like that of the original. This is far different. In it, the CG Gort is basically spreading around this virus all over the world in these big, giant, huge spheres that are placed all over the globe. And from there, that's when it gets real serious. Like, we must stop them from putting our planet to a conclusion end. Conclusion? I might have invented a new word. I don't know. But in the end, because both the mother and the young son of Will Smith, what happens in the end is that the mother and the son wind up going through their arcs. The kid basically has trouble moving on because of how his father, who served the army, passed away or died. And he's just basically flat out ignoring her mother and is just not comfortable with them in any shape or size, really. And in the end, it's when Keanu takes Jaden to the grave of his father, and then his mother, or the scene plays out is that Jaden takes Keanu to the grave of his father, and he even looks at it and he's like, "You have to move on, kid. There's only so much my powers can do." And in the end, he understands that life just can't be the same. He has to move on. And I just realized he must have gone through the 5 stages of grief right now. I mean, first of all, I saw, like, persuasion and, there's persuasion, especially when he's trying to get his father to rise up, flat out feeling like nothing has changed, and then acceptance. Okay, that's 3 out of the 5, but still, you gotta at least give credit that they actually did do the stages of grief in this film. But yeah, as it looks like the world is about to be doomed, that's when Keanu winds up going back to the giant sphere as he deactivates the swarm, saving humanity. But in that process, he blows up the entire power for the whole world, I guess. I mean, it's hard to tell. It looks like they only blew up New York City or whatever. I don't know. But in the end, he winds up returning back to whatever planet he came from, and everybody lives their normal lives. And that's the entirety of The Day the Earth Stood Still 2008. Honestly, I would say it's worse than the Red Dawn remake, but I'm not feeling it right now. Honestly, they did a good try of recapturing what made the original Day the Earth Stood Still a classic, but it just doesn't fit over so very well. There are some hindering plot points they miss in the film that made the original so great. It's one film that just can't be topped off. But of course we're talking about the same guy that has directed the Andromeda Strain, Sand Pebbles, The Sound of Music, The Haunting, Star Trek The Motion Picture. Okay, that one was completely terrible, but still, this guy is well known for a lot of the movies he's directed. He's considered as an amateur director right next to Stanley Kubrick, but he has that certain look that gives it that certain praise that, honestly, the original version just captured so brilliantly that the remake just couldn't handle. But for simple plots, it works out. I wouldn't say the remake is in any way bad. It could be a lot worse, but it just can capture what made the original Day the Earth Stood Still so classic. With that in mind, while you are a little bit curious on the remake, I highly recommend seeing the original from 1951. It is critically acclaimed. It is probably one of the best films from 1951 that you could ever get from 20th Century Fox out of the time. Plus, with that in mind, at least The Day the Earth Stood Still, in my opinion, is my favorite sci-fi film. It gave me more of a reason to watch classic movies. And other than Day the Earth Stood Still, North by Northwest would be the next one that would leave a huge influence on how I love movies entirely. So I guess with that in mind, The Day the Earth Stood Still 2008 remake. Have you seen it? What'd you think about it? Or in your opinion, what is the movie you wish could have been a lot better than what was given to you? Personally, I wish The Stepfather could have been a whole lot better. I mean, that was like, the trailers made it look so good, yet the movie itself was just awful. I might take a look at the original for Movie Fridays. Maybe. What are your thoughts are? Comment below, let me know. And if you want to see more on anything in this channel, really, then just click around here if you guys want to see more. And I guess with that in mind, I am the Ferb Guy, and I will see you guys for the next movie.